This is Patty Stepler, and I am going to share with you in the next 3 videos that there's a problem with workers and a frustration. And the frustration is in understanding that there's what I call the new revenue revolution, which is going to show you how to have ultra success in your daily finances, as well as any area of your life, be it relationships, health, job search, whatever. It's a matter of changing your mindset. You see, we all have the same amount of time in a day, and yet we don't earn the same amount of money. And so I want to share with you ways that you can learn to earn more money and to be more successful without feeling like you're spending all your hours chasing it after the money. So that you have this nice work-life balance so that you'll be able to spend time with your family and friends and do the things you really want to do rather than chasing the money all the time. So the new revolution, revenue revolution, means that you're not going to be tied up late at night with projects, and you are not going to have to sacrifice time with your family. So who is this for? Well, this could be for the business owner who simply wants to have maybe that quantum leap and to have their business expand and grow in a faster pace. It could be for the salesperson who is plateaued and wants to get to that next level. It could also be for the manager, supervisor, any vice president or whatever who wants to help grow their organization and help them move ahead. Could it also be for that person who feels like they've been passed over for promotion that they know that they deserved? Or maybe for that person that feels like they are being just overworked because they're given the job of maybe 2 or 3 people because of cuts and reorganizations and things like that. So it's really for a variety of people. It's just mostly for those who are frustrated and want to figure it out and become that more successful person that they know deep down they could really be. So there's nothing for sale in this webinar, any of these 3 parts, but if you stick around to part 3 at the end, you will find a very special gift waiting for you. So my promise is to be able to show you a possible roadmap to the revenue that you want without becoming overwhelmed, frustrated, or stressed. Now let's just talk briefly about money. So most people are really uncomfortable talking about money, but we need to overcome those feelings. Highly wealthy people have no problem discussing money. Money is simply a medium of exchange. And I guarantee you that your landlord, your mortgage company, your cell phone company, they expect and appreciate the fact that you earn money. And so there's no problem with earning more money and wanting to earn more money. That is a natural feeling. We're here to expand and grow, and so that's just a natural feeling of that expansion. So part of our problem lies in schools. Schools do not teach us how to earn money. They teach us how to learn things so that we can get a good job, or perhaps go to college or a technical school. And if you did go to college or a technical school, you probably spent between $20,000 and $100,000, maybe even more, depending on what school you went to or if you went on for professional degrees. But you spent all this money for college education. And my question is, in what way did that college education actually prepare you to earn more revenue? You see, we have this misconception that going to college will help us to earn more money. And while that is often the case, it's not necessarily the case. There are many jobs that you could earn more money without that college education, especially when you add in the lost wages for the years that you're attending school. Now, please don't get me wrong. I am in no way bashing college education. I myself am a 3rd-generation educator, and all my family, my grandparents, my aunts and uncles, my mom and dad, my brother, my cousins, we all have college educations. So that's going back 3 generations. My only point is that college in and by itself is not the answer to securing revenue. So my answer to the question, in what way did college prepare you to earn more revenue? The answer is it probably did not. So see if this sounds familiar to you. You feel like you're on this merry-go-round, or you're spinning plates in the air, you're on a hamster wheel, and you're just trying to do more and more and more and more and more, and yet you're not really getting ahead. You just feel like you're like treading water. Maybe you feel like you're on this road to nowhere. You maybe feel that your occupation isn't leading you any place. Maybe you feel like you're doing the work of 2 or 3 people and you're not feeling appreciated. Perhaps you have a boss that isn't a good communicator, but you're afraid to ask a question because you've seen what happens when somebody does ask a question. Or maybe you feel like you're at a dead end. You've risen as far as you can go in your organization, or maybe even feel like the job that you have is not really right for you. Like you've been doing the wrong thing your whole life, and going to work, getting up, the thought of going there just stresses you and just physically and emotionally drains you every day. Maybe you feel like many people do, like they're in this maze and they can't get out of it. They think that they're going to get ahead, and they pay one bill off or pay a credit card off, and they think, okay, now we'll be able to put some money away, and then something else goes wrong, and you're right back in that cycle, and you just can't find your way out of the maze. So here's how we can transform you with the revenue revolution. It's your thinking that's keeping you in the cycle of lack instead of abundance. We're going to show you 3 income strategies and figure out ways to incorporate them. And I'm going to share with you the 6 attributes that are needed to start a revenue revolution. And then we're going to figure out a plan. So that's what's going to happen in this 3-part series. So in this part, I want to just share with you some of the problems that are keeping us from moving ahead. So for instance, did you know that 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck? And when employees are struggling, those 70% perhaps are in that paycheck struggle. When they're struggling to make their ends meet, it actually impacts the business they're working for because the concentration is on that lack. Most Americans are not putting money away for retirement or for that rainy day. 24% of home pay is for non-mortgage debt. And 59% of average Americans could not come up with $500 to $1,000 to cover an immediate emergency in cash. So we know that money is the #1 cause of divorce. And we also know 97% of Americans will retire with less than $2,000 a month. Stress is the #1 cause of illness, and money is the #1 stressor. So if you're ready to kind of break those chains and to move beyond where you are and to accomplish more in your life and feel better about where you're headed, then you need to stick around for the rest of these videos and the other parts to this series. You see, the human brain is programmed for financial success or negative incomes, and it's up to you, and it's your programming. So what I wanted to do is to help you to discover the neural patterns that ultra successful business people have, and install them in your daily life so that you too can achieve incredible breakthroughs. So in part 1, we're going to look at the marvelous mind. We all have this wonderful thinking that we can do. And we also have these what are called paradigms that are our habitual thought process. And it's the understanding of how to overcome the paradigms that are not serving us well and move on to what we really want to do that will enable us to make the quantum leap that we want in our lives. So what I want you to realize is that a person who's earning, let's say, $30,000 a year does not have the same thinking patterns as a person who's earning $300,000. And of course, a person earning $300,000 doesn't have the same thinking patterns that a person earning $3 million has. So if you want to change your life, it all starts with being able to change your habitual thought patterns. We hear people say this all the time: change your attitude, change your thinking, and we tell people that, but we don't explain to them how to do it. Well, why not? Well, because most people don't know. And when you're asked to change a habit, maybe you can do it for a day or two, or maybe even a week or two, but pretty soon you go right back to where you are because you didn't do it properly. So how does the average person do it? How does that knowledge differ from that person who's ultra wealthy and successful compared to the average income earner or average person? It's a matter of being able to go in and change those paradigms. Now, is this a hard thing to do? It's not really hard. In fact, it's not like rocket science or anything like that. It's not a difficult thing. The problem is consistency. Because if you don't do it the right way and following the right techniques and having the right consistency, then it's going to be very difficult to make those changes, because those paradigms are so strong and they will constantly pull you back to where you don't want to be. So that ends part 1. I want you to stay tuned for part 2, where we'll look into ways to actually start changing those paradigms.